Hiya. Just what the hell is going on at GB News? I mean, I made a video yesterday and that kind of went viral. A lot of people watched it. Thousands of people agreed with me. And I'm glad because I'm not the only one watching the GB News shit show and wondering what the hell's going on. But my theories seem to have been proven correct. It's a mess. GB News is an absolute mess. Now, I have another theory for you regarding what's happening there. GB News, I think, would never ever have been launched. That idea would never have gotten off the table if the concept was, and the premise was, for people like me and you, people who are politically homeless, underrepresented in politics, displaced politically, and be a champion of free speech, which means it'll be nothing like the mainstream media. And my theory is, this is the plan all along. Launch it as something to attract us as its core viewers, and then dump us, shit on us, and the presenters it brought in to entice us. Those presenters were put on a hook. GB News cast it out, drew us in, and we took it, didn't we? Hook, line and sinker. I mean, the premise was fantastic. It really was. It was going to be a channel about free speech, representing us, the British people, people on the right, true conservatives, people who are born knowing that we've inherited something special in Great Britain and we want to conserve it, we want to preserve it, and we are lucky. But no, we were deceived, weren't we? It's like Sauron out of Lord of the Rings, dishing out the rings to the elves, the dwarves, the men, and then they were all deceived, weren't they? And so were we. We were all deceived by GB News, and that's why it's in its mess now. Because, I mean, Ofcom is attacking GB News left, right and centre. Nigel Farage is the latest victim. Now, they're investigating Nigel Farage's show because he's a politician, and they don't think politicians should be on there because they're going to be biased. Now, give Ofcom its due, and I can't believe I'm saying this. If you look into Companies House, you will see Nigel Farage's occupation, even though he says he's not a politician anymore, as head of political party. He should have erased that, Nigel. But there we go. But why the hell are Ofcom investigating GB News for having a politician on? And yet turning a blind eye to LBC. LBC is a London radio station that's infested with left-wing bigotry. James O'Brien being the chief one in the mornings. I mean, if you are like me politically, then I can't stomach listening. What a conceited, bigoted. He's a typical champagne socialist. He is your wine bar activist, ladies and gentlemen. A disgusting leftist. I just can't. I can't look at him. I can't listen to him. He makes me sick. He really does. Anyway, so you got Ofcom investigating GB News for Nigel Farage being a politician. They investigated it for having Rishi Sunak on there for a question and answer, which humiliated him, by the way. And good for that guy for standing up, by the way. The anti-jabber. I have to give that man kudos for doing that. Because Rishi Sunak didn't know where to look, did he? Fair play. Good, hard-hitting questions. That's what we need. Real journalism. But look at LBC. They've had Keir Starmer every morning on the Nick Ferrari show. They got David Lammy with his own show, for heaven's sake. A member of the opposition Labour Party with his own show on LBC. Why isn't Ofcom investigating them? They investigated Neil Oliver, didn't they, over that turbo cancer speech or segment. And then they let him off, which was weird, because I'd have thought that an organisation like Ofcom, being part of the establishment, which it is, Ofcom is a weapon of the establishment. The same as the Met Police and every other organisation and establishment that has some sort of authority, they are weaponised now by the progressive lefties, and they wield it, no questions asked. They don't think twice. They will use these weapons to attack things and people that think differently, i.e. us. You would think that they would actually uphold that complaint and do something about it, but they didn't, which is weird, which is really weird, because they are pro-jab and all that stuff, aren't they? So I'm wondering, and here's another theory for you, if they let him off because if they found him guilty and GB News then had to do what they did to Mark Steyn and make Neil Oliver pay his fine, then Neil Oliver would simply leave, wouldn't he? And they can't afford that at the moment. If they get rid of Neil Oliver, like I said in my previous video, immediately, then that's them finished. They still have us, even though I don't watch them, as their core voters. They haven't attracted enough woke voters, watchers. They haven't attracted enough woke audience yet in order to carry on their charade. Then again, it wouldn't be a charade then, would it? If it's catering for woke audiences. That's what they want, I think. That's the plan the whole time with GB News. They used us, folks. They used us to get where they are, and Ofcom are pushing them to make it quick. So Ofcom found Neil Oliver not guilty of breaching guidelines, whatever it was, because they were hoping that they would, GB News would fine him or make him pay his own fine. But GB News can't do that because they can't lose Neil Oliver. And that's why they've put him behind a paywall, basically. He's going to be streaming online, and he will be having an edited version on the main channel, which is disturbing, really. Which means GB News control what he says at the end of the day. And for Neil Oliver to take that, I find quite surprising. I really do. Yeah, I know the background is different. That's because I fell. I had to edit that out because that wasn't funny. Now, Mark Steyn is suing Ofcom. He's the first journalist to do so in like 10 years. And he's doing so because of the differential treatment he received from Dan Wootton and from GB News, for that matter. If you look into it, Mark Steyn has written like a blog article explaining what happened, and he's right to do so. And I hope after he's sued Ofcom and wins, he sues GB News and he takes them for all they got. Because GB News now, I think it deserves to be banished, really. It deserves to be taken off air because of its deception, what it's done. And not just to its presenters, but to us. It lied to us. It was a sheep in... not a sheep, wrong one. It was a wolf in sheep clothing. That's what it is. GB News was never about free speech. GB News was never about giving us a voice. I mean, look what happened with Tommy Robinson. He may be taking legal action against them because of what that Imam said. He lied about Tommy Robinson during the cenotaph on Remembrance. Was it Remembrance Sunday? I remember I was there, but not which day. I was there with Simon Sideways and Russ, Absolutely Average. And nothing that Imam said happened is true. There was no trouble, nothing. A bit of shouting and that's it. You saw some overweight policemen running towards Tommy Robinson supporters and that's that. No trouble, nothing. I was there. And I wouldn't lie to you folks. I would have filmed it. It's on my channel, the whole thing. But Tommy Robinson is taking action, hopefully. And he's doing this because GB News didn't correct the Imam at all. Jacob Rees-Mogg sat there, listened to what the Imam said and didn't challenge him one bit. What does that tell you about Jacob Rees-Mogg and GB News? So, it's not for us. GB News is not your friend, ladies and gentlemen. It's not my friend. I've seen this ages ago. And it's not yours either. So just switch off. Don't watch any news. Mainstream media or anything tabloid. None of them. None of them give a toss about us, and that's the truth. And that's how I see it. So please let me know what you think in the comments as ever. And thanks for walking with me. I've enjoyed it again. I'm past 49. And until the next time, Roger Trout.